Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources by U.S. State at Museumsusa. Chapter 1. American Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources 1. Alabama Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Alabama Artists Gallery. arts.state.al.us. Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama Judicial Department Museum, Supreme Court Museum. Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama State Council on the Arts. arts.state.al.us. Montgomery, Alabama. Alabama Department of Conservation. OutdoorAlabama.com. Montgomery, Alabama. American Sport Art Museum and Archives. asama.org. Daphne, Alabama. Art Galleries at UAH. uah.edu/colleges/liberal/art/galleries.html. Huntsville, Alabama. Auburn University Art Museum. JewelCollinsSmithMuseum.com/index.html. Auburn University, Alabama. Birmingham Museum of Art. artsbma.org. Birmingham, Alabama. Calhoun State Community College Art Gallery. eventcrazy.com/Decatur-al/attraction/details/48235-the-art-gallery-john-state-community-college. Decatur, Alabama. Center for the Cultural Arts. culturalarts.org. Gadsden, Alabama. Coleman Center for Arts and Culture. colemanarts.org. York, Alabama. Cummer Museum and Arts Center. cummermuseum.freeservers.com/index.html. Sylacauga, Alabama. Cummer Museum and Arts Center. Eastern Shore Art Center. eastartcenter.com. Fairhope, Alabama. Fayette Art Museum. Fayette, Alabama. Gadsden Museum of Art. Gadsden, Alabama. Gadsden Metropolitan Arts Council. Gadsden, Alabama. Huntsville Museum of Art. hsvmuseum.org. Huntsville, Alabama. InfoCenter Alabama, Inc. infocenteralabama.com. Helena, Alabama. Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Art. jcsm.auburn.edu. Auburn, Alabama. Kennedy Douglas Center for the Arts. florenceal.org/community_arts/art_museum/Kennedy_Douglas/index.html. Florence, Alabama. Kentuck Art Center. kentuck.org. Northport, Alabama. Mobile Museum of Art. mobilemuseumofart.com. Mobile, Alabama. Mobile Area Museum Association. mobileareamuseums.org. Mobile, Alabama. Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts. mmfa.org. Montgomery, Alabama. Moody Gallery of Art. art.ua.edu/site/galleries/sarah-moody-gallery-of-art. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Performing Arts Center. paxlo.org. Foley, Alabama. Renaissance Art Gallery. renaissanceartgallery.com. Northport, Alabama. Stillman College Art Gallery. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tennessee Valley Art Center. Tuscumbia, Alabama. The Evelyn Borough Museum of Wallace State Community College. boroughmuseum.org. Coleman, Alabama. Tuscaloosa Arts Council. manifestimagery.com. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Tuscaloosa Museum of Art, home of the Westervelt Collection. tuscaloosamoa.org. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Visual Arts Gallery, UAB. uab.edu/art/vagalery.php. Birmingham, Alabama. Wiregrass Museum of Art. wiregrassmuseum.org. Dothan, Alabama. Alaska Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Alaska Museum of Natural History. alaskamuseum.org. Anchorage, Alaska. Alaska Indian Arts. alaskaindianarts.com. Haines, Alaska. Alaska State Museum. museums.state.ak.us. Juneau, Alaska. Anchorage Museum of History and Art. anchoragemuseum.org. Anchorage, Alaska. Metlakatla Indian Community. metlakatla.com. Metlakatla, Alaska. Nangyukwilnuk Arts and Crafts Center. Togiak, Alaska. Northwest Arctic Heritage Center. nps.gov/cakr/parnews/nwahc.htm. Kotzebue, Alaska. The Alaska Heritage Museum at Wells Fargo. wellsfargohistory.com/museum/alaska.html. Anchorage, Alaska. The Anchorage Museum Imaginarium Discovery Center. anchoragemuseum.org. Anchorage, Alaska. University of Alaska Museum of the North. uaf.edu/museum. Fairbanks, Alaska. Arizona Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Amarant Foundation Museum. amarant.org. Dragoon, Arizona. Arizona Copper Art Museum. copperartmuseum.com. Clarkdale, Arizona. ASU Art Museum. asuartmuseum.asu.edu. Tempe, Arizona. Bead Museum. Glendale, Arizona. Bullion Plaza Cultural Center and Museum. auctioncatalogcompany.com/museum. Miami, Arizona. Center for Creative Photography. creativephotography.org. Tucson, Arizona. Desert Caballeros Western Museum. westernmuseum.org. Wickenburg, Arizona. Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation. ftmcdowell.org. Fountain Hills, Arizona. Mojave Museum of History and Arts. ctaz.com/mocohist/museum. Kingman, Arizona. Navajo Nation Museum. navajonationmuseum.org. Window Rock, Arizona. Phippen Museum. phippenartmuseum.org. Prescott, Arizona. Phoenix Art Museum. phxart.org. Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix Airport's Museum Program. Phoenix, Arizona. Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Art. smaka.org. Scottsdale, Arizona. Shemer Art Center. shemerartcenterroundmuseum.org. Phoenix, Arizona. Smoky Museum of American Indian Art and Culture. smokymuseum.org. Prescott, Arizona. Tohono O'odham Cultural Museum Committee. Sells, Arizona. Tohono O'odham Nation Cultural Center and Museum. tonation-nsn.gov. Topawa, Arizona. Tohono Chol Park. tohonocholpark.org/wordpress. Tucson, Arizona. Tubac Center of the Arts. tubacarts.org. Tubac, Arizona. Tucson Museum of Art. tucsonmuseumofart.org. Tucson, Arizona. University of Arizona Museum of Art. artmuseum.arizona.edu. Tucson, Arizona. Verde Valley Archaeology Center and Museum. verdevalleyarchaeology.org. Camp Verde, Arizona. West Valley Art Museum. wvam.org. Surprise, Arizona. Arkansas Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Arkansas Arts Center. arcarts.com. Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas Arts Council. Little Rock, Arkansas. Arkansas River Valley Arts Center. Russellville, Arkansas. Arts and Science Center for SE Arkansas. artssciencecenter.org. Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art. crystalbridges.org. Bentonville, Arkansas. Delta Cultural Center. deltaculturalcenter.com. Helena, Arkansas. Eureka Springs Historical Museum. eshem.org. Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Greene County Museum Incorporated of Paragould. Paragould, Arkansas. Hot Springs Arts Center. Hot Springs, Arkansas. Museum of the Arkansas Grand Prairie. grandprairiemuseum.org. Stuttgart, Arkansas. Ozark Arts and Crafts Guild. Fayetteville, Arkansas. California Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Adobe Art Gallery. adobegallery.org. Castro Valley, California. IK, the Visual Arts Gallery. AICIVSUALartsgallery.com. San Bernardino, California. Airy Sculpture Garden and Gallery. Palm Desert, California. African American Museum of Fine Arts. San Diego, California. Allen Short Gallery. Stockton, California. Allender Gallery. AllenDRgallery.com. Wallala, California. American Center for Wine, Food and the Arts. Napa, California. American Indian Contemporary Arts. San Francisco, California. American Museum of Straw Art. StrawArtMuseum.org. Long Beach, California. Anaheim Museo and Heritage Center. Museo.org. Anaheim, California. Angels Gate Cultural Center. AngelsGateArt.org. San Pedro, California. Ansel Adams Gallery. AnselAdams.com. Gonzales, California. Antioch Lynn House Gallery. Antioch, California. Art Center College of Design Galleries. artcenter.edu. Pasadena, California. Art Gallery, CSUN. csun.edu. Northridge, California. Art Museum of Santa Cruz County. santacruzmayor.org. Santa Cruz, California. Asian Art Museum of San Francisco. ASEANART.org. San Francisco, California. Bachelor Officers' Quarters at Angel Island. Tiburon, California. Bakersfield Museum of Art. BMOA.org. Bakersfield, California. Balboa Art Conservation Center. BACC.org. San Diego, California. Barnsdall Jr. Arts Center. FOJAC.org. Los Angeles, California. Bell Center for Art and Technology. bellcenter.uci.edu. Irvine, California. Bedford Gallery at the Dean Leshsa Regional Center for the Arts. dlrca.org. Walnut Creek, California. Berkeley Art Center. berkeleyartcenter.org. Berkeley, California. Berkeley Art Museum and Pacific Film Archive. bampfa.berkeley.edu. Berkeley, California. Boehm Gallery of Palomar College. palomar.edu/art/boehmgallery.html. San Marcos, California. Bolinas Gallery. bolinas-gallery.com. Bolinas, California. Bowers Museum. Bowers.org. Santa Ana, California. Brand Gallery. Glendale, California. Brown Trout Gallery. Dunsmuir, California. Burlingame Museum of Pez Memorabilia. burlingamepezmuseum.com. Burlingame, California. CN. Gorman Museum. gormanmuseum.ucdavis.edu. Davis, California. Cabrillo College Gallery. cabrillo.edu/services/art gallery. Aptos, California. California Agricultural Museum. Fresno, California. California Center for the Arts, Escondido. artcenter.org. Escondido, California. California Heritage Museum. californiaheritagemuseum.org. Santa Monica, California. California State University Hayward Art Gallery. Hayward, California. Carnegie Art Museum. carnegieam.org. Oxnard, California. Carriage and Western Art Museum of Santa Barbara. carriagemuseum.org. Santa Barbara, California. Cartoon Art Museum. cartoonart.org. San Francisco, California. Casa Romantica Cultural Center and Gardens. casaromantica.org. San Clemente, California. Center for Photographic Art. photography.org. Carmel, California. Center for Photographic Arts. Monterey, California. Channel Islands Maritime Museum. cimmvc.org. Oxnard, California. Charles Pankow Collection. San Francisco, California. Children's Museum of Art and Imagination. Campbell, California. Chinese Culture Center. c-c-c.org. San Francisco, California. Chula Vista Nature Center. Chula Vista Naturcenter.org. Chula Vista, California. Chumash Indian Museum. chumashindianmuseum.com. Thousand Oaks, California. City of Brea Gallery. Brea, California. City of Lancaster Museum/Art Gallery. City of Lancaster.ca.org/index.aspx page =67. Lancaster, California. Claremont Graduate School Galleries. Claremont, California. Coastal Arts League Museum. coastalartsleague.com. Half Moon Bay, California. College of the Desert Art Gallery. Palm Desert, California. College of the Redwoods Art Gallery. redwoods.edu/department/art/gallery/index.hdm. Eureka, California. Corita Art Center, Immaculate Heart Community. corita.org. Los Angeles, California. Craft and Folk Art Museum. cafam.org. Los Angeles, California. Crocker Art Museum. crockerartmuseum.org. Sacramento, California. Cultural Arts Institute of Inglewood. Los Angeles, California. Delta College Clever Planetarium and Earth Science Center. Stockton, California. Department of Museum Studies, John F. Kennedy University. jfku.edu. Berkeley, California. Design Gallery/Design Alliance. Davis, California. Downey Museum of Art. downeymoa.org. Downey, California. Earth Planet Museum. earthplanetmuseum.wordpress.com. Grass Valley, California. Edward Dean Museum and Gardens. edward-deanmuseum.org. Cherry Valley, California. Elizabeth Holmes Fisher Gallery U.S.C. Los Angeles, California. Aloise Pickard Smith Gallery, Cowell College. cowell.ucsc.edu/smith-gallery. Santa Cruz, California. Elverhage Museum of History and Art. elverhoj.org. Solvang, California. Euphrat Museum of Art, De Anza College. deanza.edu/Euphrat. Cupertino, California. Exploratorium. Exploratorium.edu. San Francisco, California. Filoli. Filoli.org. Woodside, California. Fine Arts Museums of San Francisco. legionofhonor.famsf.org. San Francisco, California. Finnish Folk Art Museum. Pasadena, California. Fort MacArthur Military Museum. ftmac.org. San Pedro, California. Fowler Museum at UCLA. fowler.ucla.edu. Los Angeles, California. Frank Bett Center for the Arts. frankbettcenter.org. Alameda, California. Frederick R. Weismann Museum of Art, Pepperdine University. arts.pepperdine.edu/museum/das-collection.hdm. Malibu, California. Frederick S. Wright Art Gallery. Los Angeles, California. Fresno Art Museum. fresnoartmuseum.org. Fresno, California. Fresno Historical Society. valleyhistory.org. Fresno, California. Fullerton Museum Center. ci.fullerton.ca.us/museum. Fullerton, California. Gallery of Historical Figures. galleryhistoricalfigures.com. Ojai, California. Grace Hudson Museum and Son House. gracehudsonmuseum.org. Ukiah, California. Gregory Kondos Art Gallery. Sacramento, California. Grossmont College Hyde Gallery. grossmont.edu/art gallery. El Cajon, California. Grunwald Center for the Graphic Arts at UCLA. Los Angeles, California. Grunwald Graphic Arts Center. Los Angeles, California. Hastings College Art Gallery. San Francisco, California. Helix Community Science Center. Los Altos, California. Highlands Art Center. highlandartcenter.org. Weaverville, California. Historical Glass Museum. historicalglassmuseum.com. Redlands, California. History San Jose. historysanjose.org. San Jose, California. Huntington Beach Art Center. huntingtonbeachhca.gov/visitors/art_center. Huntington Beach, California. Imagine It, Inc. Series, California. Imperial Valley Desert Museum. fordesertmuseum.org. Ocotillo, California. International Children's Art Museum. San Francisco, California. Iris and B. Gerald Cantor Center for Visual Arts. stanford.edu/department/ccvia. Stanford, California. Irvine Fine Arts Center. Irvine, California. Irvine Museum. irvinemuseum.org. Irvine, California. J. Paul Getty Museum. getty.edu. Los Angeles, California. Janet Turner Print Museum. janetuna.org. Chico, California. Jocelyn Fine Arts Gallery. Torrance, California. Judah L. Magnus Memorial Museum. Berkeley, California. Junior Arts Center Gallery. Los Angeles, California. Junior Center of Art and Science. juniorcenter.org. Oakland, California. Kala Institute Art Gallery. Berkeley, California. Kennedy Art Center Gallery. Oakland, California. L. H. Horton Jr. Art Gallery. deltacollege.edu/department/horton-art-gallery. Stockton, California. LACE. laca.org. Los Angeles, California. La Jolla Art Association Gallery. LaJollaArt.org. La Jolla, California. La Raza/Galeria Posada. LaRazaGaleriaPosada.org. Sacramento, California. La Band Art Gallery, Loyola Marymount University. Los Angeles, California. Laguna Art Museum. LagunaArtMuseum.org. Laguna Beach, California. Lillian Paley Center for Visual Arts. Oakland, California. Lincoln Arts and Cultural Foundation. LincolnArts.org. Lincoln, California. Leray Isle, Gallery of Contemporary Jewelry and Art. LerayIsle.com. Oakland, California. Living Memorial Sculpture Garden. WeDelMessage.org. Weed, California. Long Beach Museum of Art. LBMA.org. Long Beach, California. Long Beach Museum of Art Video Annex. Long Beach, California. Los Angeles Art Association/Gallery 825. LA.org. Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery. ci.la.ca.us/cad/lamag/home.html. Los Angeles, California. Los Medanos College Art Gallery. Pittsburgh, California. Madame Tussauds Hollywood. MadameTussauds.com/Hollywood. Hollywood, California. Madame Tussauds San Francisco. MadameTussauds.com/San Francisco. San Francisco, California. Main Art Gallery, CSUF. Fullerton, California. Mandeville Art Gallery. La Jolla, California. Marin Community College Art Gallery. Kentfield, California. Martinez Museum. MartinezHistory.org. Martinez, California. Mary Porter Cessnan Gallery. Santa Cruz, California. Maxwell H. Dubin/Alfred Wolf Exhibit Center. Los Angeles, California. MacArthur Burney Falls Memorial State Park. Burney, California. McCune Rare Book and Art Collection. McCuneCollection.org. Vallejo, California. Memorial Union Art Gallery. ucdavis.edu. Davis, California. Mexican Heritage Center and Gallery. Stockton, California. Mexican Museum. MexicanMuseum.org. San Francisco, California. Mills College Art Museum. mills.edu/campus_life/art_museum/index.php. Oakland, California. Mingay International Museum. Mingay.org. San Diego, California. Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts. San Francisco, California. Mission Santa Clara. scu.edu/Mission Church/History. Santa Clara, California. Modoc County Historical Museum. Alturas, California. Monterey Museum of Art. MontereyArt.org. Monterey, California. Muckenthaler Cultural Center. themusic.org. Fullerton, California. Mullen Automotive Museum. MullenAutomotiveMuseum.com. Oxnard, California. Museo Italo-Americano. MuseoItaloAmericano.org. San Francisco, California. Museum of African American Art. Los Angeles, California. Museum of Ancient and Modern Art. MAMA.org. Penn Valley, California. Museum of Contemporary Art, Los Angeles. MOCA-LA.org. Los Angeles, California. Museum of Contemporary Art, San Diego. MCASD.org. La Jolla, California. Museum of History and Art, Ontario. Ontario, California. Museum of Photographic Arts. MAPA.org. San Diego, California. Museum of Art and History, McPherson Center. Santa Cruz Mayor.org. Santa Cruz, California. Museum of Children's Art, MoCA. MoCA.org. Oakland, California. Museum of Latin American Art. MOLA.org. Long Beach, California. Museum of Monterey, MOM. Museum of Monterey.org. Monterey, California. Museum of Neon Art. neonmona.org/flash. Los Angeles, California. Napa Valley Museum. napavalleymuseum.org. Yountville, California. Natalie and James Thompson Gallery. gallery.stsu.edu. San Jose, California. Nethercut Collection. nethercutcollection.org. Sylmar, California. Northern California Folk Art Center / Haven Art Studio. havenartstudio.com. Redding, California. Norton Simon Museum. nortonsimon.org. Pasadena, California. Ohlone College Gallery. ohlone.edu. Fremont, California. Ojai Valley Museum of History and Art. ohaivalleymuseum.org and ohaihistory.com. Ojai, California. Old City Hall Gallery and Arts Center. Redding, California. Orange County Art Museum. ocma.net/index.html $page =index. Newport Beach, California. Otis Art Gallery. Los Angeles, California. Pacific Asia Museum. pacificasiamuseum.org. Pasadena, California. Pacific Grove Art Center. Pacific Grove, California. Padres Quarters. Santa Barbara, California. Palm Springs Art Museum. psmuseum.org. Palm Springs, California. Palo Alto Art Center. Palo Alto, California. Paradise Art Center. Paradise, California. Pasadena Museum of Art. pmciaonline.org. Pasadena, California. Peninsula Museum of Art. peninsulamuseum.org. Burlingame, California. Pedersen Museum of Intercultural Art at Pilgrim Place. pilgrimplace.org/Pedersen_museum.php. Claremont, California. Plaza de la Raza, Inc. plazadelaRaza.org. Los Angeles, California. Pomona College Museum of Art. pomona.edu/museum. Claremont, California. Public Art Works. San Rafael, California. Rand Desert Museum. randdesertmuseum.com. Randsburg, California. Reese-Bullen Gallery. Arcata, California. Richard L. Nelson Gallery, UC Davis. nelsongallery.ucdavis.edu. Davis, California. Richmond Art Center. Theracy.org. Richmond, California. Riverside Art Museum. riversideartmuseum.org. Riverside, California. Riverside Community College Art Gallery. Riverside, California. Riverside Metropolitan Museum. riversideca.gov/museum. Riverside, California. Robert Else Gallery. Sacramento, California. Robert and Francis Fullerton Museum of Art. rafma.csusb.edu. San Bernardino, California. Romano Gabriel's Wooden Sculpture Garden. EurekaHeritage.org/Romano%20Gabriel.htm. Eureka, California. Ruth Chandler Williamson Gallery. rcwg.scripscollege.edu. Claremont, California. SOM Arts Cultural Center. SOMRTS.org. San Francisco, California. SRJC Museum. santarosa.edu/museum. Santa Rosa, California. St. Mary's College Museum of Art. stmarys-ca.edu/museum. Moraga, California. Salinas Community Center. Salinas, California. San Benito CO. Arts. COMM. sanbenitoarts.org. Hollister, California. San Diego Children's Discovery Museum. sdcdm.org. Escondido, California. San Diego Museum of Art. sandiegomuseum.org. sdmart.com. San Diego, California. San Fernando Valley Relics Museum. valleyrelics.org. Chatsworth, California. San Francisco African American Historical and Cultural Society. sfahcs.org. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Art Institute. sfai.edu. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Art Institute Galleries. sfai.edu. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Craft and Folk Art Museum. mocfa.org. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. sfmoma.org. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Museum of Craft and Folk Art. mocfa.org. San Francisco, California. San Francisco Performing Arts Library/Museum. San Francisco, California. San Jose Museum of Art. San Jose Museumofart.org. San Jose, California. San Jose Museum of Quilts and Textiles. sjquiltmuseum.org. San Jose, California. San Marcos Gallery Dominican College. dominican.edu/academics/ahss/art/san-marco-gallery. San Rafael, California. Santa Ana College Art Gallery. Santa Ana, California. Santa Barbara Museum of Art. sbma.net. Santa Barbara, California. Santa Maria Museum Art Center. Santa Maria, California. Santa Monica Museum of Art, Bergamot Station. smmoa.org. Santa Monica, California. Santa Rosa Jr. College Art Gallery. Santa Rosa, California. Sebastopol Center for the Arts. scbarts.org. Sebastopol, California. Sharpstein Museum. sharpsteen-museum.org. Calistoga, California. Sierra Mono Indian Museum. sierramonomuseum.org. North Fork, California. Skyline College Gallery. smccd.edu/accounts/sky gallery. San Bruno, California. Saucah University Art Gallery. saucah.edu. Aliso Viejo, California. Sandra and Marvin Smalley Sculpture Garden. Los Angeles, California. Sonoma County Museum. sonomacountymuseum.org. Santa Rosa, California. Southwest Museum of the American Indian. theautry.org. Los Angeles, California. Stewart Collection UCSD. stewartcollection.ucsd.edu. La Jolla, California. Sun Gallery. sungallery.org. Hayward, California. Surfing Heritage Foundation. surfingheritage.org. San Clemente, California. Susan Cummins Gallery. Mill Valley, California. Susan Quinlan Doll and Teddy Bear Museum and Library. QuinlanMuseum.com. Santa Barbara, California. Sushi Performance and Visual Art. SushiArt.org. San Diego, California. Sweeney Art Gallery, UC. Riverside. sweeney.ucr.edu. Riverside, California. Tattoo Art Museum. San Francisco, California. Tattoo Art Museum. lyletuttle.com/home.html. Ukiah, California. The Autry Museum of the American West. theautry.org. Los Angeles, California. The Clark Center for Japanese Art and Culture. ccjac.org. Hanford, California. The Hagen Museum. hagenmuseum.org. Stockton, California. The Latino Museum of History, Art, and Culture. thelatinomuseum.org. Los Angeles, California. Timken Museum of Art. timkenmuseum.org/news. San Diego, California. Triangle Tattoo and Museum. triangletattoo.com. Fort Bragg, California. Triton Museum of Art. tritonmuseum.org. Santa Clara, California. Tulare Historical Museum. tularehistoricalmuseum.org. Tulare, California. UCLA Armand Hammer Museum of Art. Los Angeles, California. UCLA Hannah Carter Japanese Garden. Los Angeles, California. UCR/CA Museum of Photography. cmp.ucr.edu. Riverside, California. Ukrainian Art Center. Los Angeles, California. University Art Gallery UCSD. uag.ucsd.edu/exhibitions/current.html. La Jolla, California. University Art Gallery, XAD. csudh.edu. Carson, California. University Art Gallery, CSUs. Rohnert Park, California. University Art Gallery, UCSD. sixarts.ucsd.edu. La Jolla, California. University Art Museum, XULB. csulb.edu/org/uam. Long Beach, California. University Art Museum, UCSB. uam.ucsb.edu. Santa Barbara, California. Valley Art Center. valleyartgallery.org/home.htm. Walnut Creek, California. Ventura County Museum, History and Art. venturamuseum.org. Ventura, California. Watts Towers Arts Center. wattstowers.org/watts_towers_arts_center.php. Los Angeles, California. West Garrison Officers Quarters and Bakehouse. Tiburon, California. Wignall Museum of Contemporary Art. chaffee.edu/wignall. Rancho Cucamonga, California. Wildlife and Mining Artifacts Museum. Pine Grove, California. Wildling Art Museum. wildlingmuseum.org. Los Olivos, California. William S. Hart Museum. nhm.org. Newhall, California. Colorado Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Colorado Art Centers, Galleries, and Museums. Anderson Ranch Arts Center and Museum. andersonranch.org. Snowmass, Colorado. Arvada Center for the Arts and Humanities. arvadacenter.org/blog. Arvada, Colorado. Avenir Museum of Design and Merchandising. avenir.colorado.state.edu/index.aspx. Fort Collins, Colorado. Boulder Museum of Contemporary Art. bmoca.org. Boulder, Colorado. Buell Children's Museum at the Sangre de Cristo Arts Center. sdc-arts.org. Pueblo, Colorado. Cannon City Fine Arts Center. Cannon City, Colorado. Colorado Springs Fine Arts Center Taylor MUS for Southwestern Studies. csfineartscenter.org. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Colorado Gallery of the Arts, Arapahoe Community College. Littleton, Colorado. CU Art Galleries, Cibel Wall Fine Arts Building. colorado.edu/cuartmuseum/index.html. Boulder, Colorado. CU Visual Arts Complex, VAC. colorado.edu/catalog/08-09/features/visualarts.html. Boulder, Colorado. Denver Art Museum. denverartmuseum.org. Denver, Colorado. Foothills Art Center. foothillsartcenter.org. Golden, Colorado. Fred Harmon Art Museum. harmonartmuseum.com. Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Gallery of Contemporary Art, U of Colorado. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Gallery of Fine Arts, U of So. K. Potzela Arts Building. Pueblo, Colorado. Gustafson Gallery. avenir.colorado.state.edu/gustafson-gallery.aspx. Fort Collins, Colorado. Hotel de Paris Museum. hoteldeparismuseum.org. Georgetown, Colorado. IMDENPS, Department of Interior. Denver, Colorado. Kirkland Museum of Fine and Decorative Art. kirklandmuseum.org. Denver, Colorado. Lehman-Tree Museum of Western Art. lehmantreemuseum.com. Boulder, Colorado. Longmont Museum. Longmont, Colorado. Loveland Museum and Gallery. ci.loveland.co.us/index.aspx $page=117. Loveland, Colorado. Luther Bean Museum. www.adams.edu/lutherbean. Alamosa, Colorado. Museum of Outdoor Arts. moaonline.org. Englewood, Colorado. Museum of Western Art, closed. Denver, Colorado. Pueblo Art Guild and Gallery. Pueblo, Colorado. Sangre de Cristo Arts Center. sdc-arts.org. Pueblo, Colorado. Steamboat Art Museum. steamboatartmuseum.com. Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Trianon Museum and Art Gallery. Denver, Colorado. Western Colorado Center for the Arts. gjartcenter.org. Grand Junction, Colorado. Connecticut Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. The Aldrich Museum of Contemporary Art. aldrichart.org. Ridgefield, Connecticut. American Museum of Tort Law. tortmuseum.org. Winstead, Connecticut. Antiquarian and Landmarks Society. hartnet.org/als. Hartford, Connecticut. Artworks Gallery. Hartford, Connecticut. Bellarmine Museum of Art, Fairfield University. fairfield.edu/museum. Fairfield, Connecticut. Bruce Museum of Arts and Science. brucemuseum.org. Greenwich, Connecticut. Center for Contemporary Printmaking. contiemprints.org. Norwalk, Connecticut. Davison Art Center, Wesleyan University. wesleyan.edu/dac. Middletown, Connecticut. Eli Whitney Museum. eliwhitney.org. Hamden, Connecticut. Florence Griswold Museum. florencegriswoldmuseum.org. Old Lyme, Connecticut. Gr. Hartford Jewish COMM Center. West Hartford, Connecticut. Guilford Art Center. handcraftcenter.org. Guilford, Connecticut. Hillstead Museum. hillstead.org. Farmington, Connecticut. Housatonic Museum of Art. hctc.commnet.edu/artmuseum/index.html. Bridgeport, Connecticut. John Slade Ely House. elyhouse.org. New Haven, Connecticut. Jose Loff Gallery. joseloffgallery.org/gallerymission.htm. West Hartford, Connecticut. Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum. lockwoodmatthewsmansion.com. Norwalk, Connecticut. Lyman Allen Art Museum. lymanallen.org. New London, Connecticut. Mattituck Museum. mattituckmuseum.org. Waterbury, Connecticut. Mattituck Museum. mattituckmuseum.org. Waterbury, Connecticut. Military Hist. Headquarters Museum. Westbrook, Connecticut. Military Hist. Headquarters Museum. Westbrook, Connecticut. New Britain Museum of American Art. nbma.org. New Britain, Connecticut. New Britain Museum of American Art. nbma.org. New Britain, Connecticut. Nowton Reed Farm Museum. Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Nowton Reed Farm Museum. Windsor Locks, Connecticut. SCSU Art Gallery. southernct.edu/about-csu. New Haven, Connecticut. SCSU Art Gallery. southernct.edu/about-csu. New Haven, Connecticut. Seth Thomas Bradstreet House Museum. thomastoncT.org. Thomaston, Connecticut. Seth Thomas Bradstreet House Museum. thomastoncT.org. Thomaston, Connecticut. Silvermine Guild Arts Center. silvermineart.org. New Canaan, Connecticut. Silvermine Guild Arts Center. silvermineart.org. New Canaan, Connecticut. Slater Memorial Museum. norwichfreeacademy.com/slater_museum. Norwich, Connecticut. Slater Memorial Museum. norwichfreeacademy.com/slater_museum. Norwich, Connecticut. Stanton House Museum and Store. stantonhosect.com. Clinton, Connecticut. Stanton House Museum and Store. stantonhosect.com. Clinton, Connecticut. Stepping Stones Museum for Children. steppingstonesmuseum.org. Norwalk, Connecticut. Stepping Stones Museum for Children. steppingstonesmuseum.org. Norwalk, Connecticut. The Amistad Center for Art and Culture at the Wadsworth. amistadartandculture.org. Hartford, Connecticut. The Ballard Institute and Museum of Puppetry. bimp.uconn.edu. Stores, Connecticut. Thomas J. Walsh Art Gallery, Fairfield University. fairfield.edu/Walsh Gallery. Fairfield, Connecticut. Thomas J. Walsh Art Gallery, Fairfield University. fairfield.edu/Walsh Gallery. Fairfield, Connecticut. Wadsworth Athenaeum. wadsworthathenaeum.org. Hartford, Connecticut. Wadsworth Athenaeum. wadsworthathenaeum.org. Hartford, Connecticut. Whitney Museum of American Art. whitney.org/about/history. Stamford, Connecticut. Whitney Museum of American Art. whitney.org/about/history. Stamford, Connecticut. William Benton Museum of Art. benton.uconn.edu. Stores, Connecticut. William Benton Museum of Art. benton.uconn.edu. Stores, Connecticut. Yale Center for British Art. yale.edu/ycba. New Haven, Connecticut. Yale Center for British Art. Yale.edu/YCBA. New Haven, Connecticut. Yale University Art Gallery. artgallery.yale.edu. New Haven, Connecticut. Yale University Art Gallery. artgallery.yale.edu. New Haven, Connecticut. Delaware Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. Biggs Museum of American Art. biggsmuseum.org. Dover, Delaware. Christina Cultural Arts CTR. Wilmington, Delaware. DeCTR. For the Contemporary Arts. fedcca.org/index.html. Wilmington, Delaware. DIV. Of the Arts. Wilmington, Delaware. Delaware Art Museum. delat.org. Wilmington, Delaware. Dover Art League. doverartleague.com. Dover, Delaware. Rehoboth Art League. Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Rockwood Park and Museum. rockwood.org. Wilmington, Delaware. Sussex CO. Arts Council. Georgetown, Delaware. The Delaware Children's Theatre. thechildrenstheatre.org. Wilmington, Delaware. University Museums. udel.edu/museums. Newark, Delaware. District of Columbia Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. AMA, Art Museum of the Americas. museum.oas.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Art Museum of the Americas, OAS. museum.oas.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Arthur M. Sackler Gallery. asia.si.edu. Washington, District of Columbia. Arts Club of Washington. artsclubofwashington.com. Washington, District of Columbia. Arts and Industries Building. si.edu/ai. Washington, District of Columbia. Corcoran Gallery of Art. corcoran.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Daughters of the Amer. Revolution Museum. dar.org/museum. Washington, District of Columbia. Department of Interior. doi.gov. Washington, District of Columbia. Evans, Tibbs Collection. Washington, District of Columbia. Fondo del Solvis. Art and Media Center. Washington, District of Columbia. Freer Gallery of Art. asia.si.edu. Washington, District of Columbia. Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden. hirshhorn.si.edu. Washington, District of Columbia. Historical Society of Washington, D.C. historydc.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Howard University Gallery of Art. howard.edu/library/art@howard/goa. Washington, District of Columbia. Indian Arts and Crafts Board. Washington, District of Columbia. Madame Tussauds, Washington, D.C. madametussauds.com/Washington. Washington, District of Columbia. Museum of Temporary Art. Washington, District of Columbia. Museum/Afro-Amer/Images/Folk Art. Washington, District of Columbia. National Building Museum. nbm.org. Washington, District of Columbia. National Gallery of Art. nga.gov/home.htm. Washington, District of Columbia. National Museum of African American History and Culture. washington.org/smithsonian-institution-museums. Washington, District of Columbia. National Museum of African Art. nmofa.si.edu/voice.html. Washington, District of Columbia. National Museum of American Art. Washington, District of Columbia. National Museum of American History. americanhistory.si.edu/index.cfm. Washington, District of Columbia. National Museum of Women in the Arts. nmwa.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Renwick Gallery Natal. Museum of American Art. Washington, District of Columbia. Smithsonian American Art Museum. americanart.si.edu/index3.cfm. Washington, District of Columbia. Textile Museum. textilemuseum.org. Washington, District of Columbia. The B'nai B'rith Klutznik National Jewish Museum. bnaibrith.org/museum/index.cfm. Washington, District of Columbia. The Krieger Museum. kriegermuseum.com/index.asp. Washington, District of Columbia. The L. Ron Hubbard Museum. lronhubbard.org/houses/dc. Washington, District of Columbia. The Octagon Museum. archfoundation.org/octagon/about/index.htm. Washington, District of Columbia. The Phillips Collection. phillipscollection.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Tudor Place Foundation, Inc. tudorplace.org. Washington, District of Columbia. U.S. Department of State, Arts and Embassies PRGM. Washington, District of Columbia. United States Senate COMM. Art and Antiquity. Washington, District of Columbia. Washington Project for the Arts. WPADC.org. Washington, District of Columbia. Washington Women's Art Center. NMWA.org. Washington, District of Columbia. World Bank Art Program. worldbank.org/artprogram. Washington, District of Columbia. Florida Art Centers, Galleries, Museums, and Resources. bonnethouse.org or call 954-563-5393. FA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum. igfa.org. Dania Beach, Florida. St. Petersburg's Art and Culture District. floridacraftart.org. The University of Tampa, Scarfone/Hartley Gallery. studiof.utarts.com. AE. Bacchus Museum and Gallery. bacchusmuseum.org. Fort Pierce, Florida. Aberrant Art Gallery. aberrantart.com. Daytona Beach, Florida. African American Museum of the Arts. africanmuseumdeland.org. DeLand, Florida. Ottaudihickey Museum. ahthickey.com. Clewiston, Florida. Albin Polasek Museum and Sculpture Gardens. polasek.org. Winter Park, Florida. Amelia Center Gallery, Gulf Coast State College. Panama City, Florida. Ancient Spanish Monastery of St. Bernard de Clairvaux Cloisters. SpanishMonastery.com. North Miami Beach, Florida. Anita S. Wooten Gallery at Valencia College East Campus. valenciacollege.edu/gallery. Orlando, Florida. Ann Norton Sculpture Gardens. ansg.org. West Palm Beach, Florida. Anna Lamar Switzer Center for the Visual Arts. visualarts.pensacolaState.edu. Pensacola, Florida. Appleton Museum of Art at College of Central Florida. appletonmuseum.org. Ocala, Florida. Armory Art Center. armoryart.org. West Palm Beach, Florida. Art and History Museums, Maitland. artandhistory.org. Maitland, Florida. Art and History Museums, Maitland. artandhistory.org. Maitland, Florida. Art Center Sarasota. artsarasota.org. Sarasota, Florida. Art and Culture Center of Hollywood. artandculturecenter.org. Hollywood, Florida. Art Center/South Florida. artcentersf.org. Miami Beach, Florida. Atlantic Center for the Arts. atlanticcenterforthearts.org. New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Audubon House and Tropical Gardens. audubonhouse.com. Key West, Florida. Beaches Museum and History Park. beachesmuseum.org. Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Black Heritage Museum. Miami, Florida. Bob Rauschenberg Gallery, Edison State College. edison.edu/lee/gallery/index.html. Fort Myers, Florida. Boca Raton Museum of Art. bocamuseum.org. Boca Raton, Florida. Bonnet House Museum and Gardens. bonnethouse.org. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. CMN. Golisano Children's Museum of Naples. CMON.org. Naples, Florida. Colección Gary Nader. GaryNader.com. Miami, Florida. Collier County Museums. CollierMuseums.com. Naples, Florida. Coral Gables Merrick House. coralgables.com/cgweb/merrickhouse.aspx. Coral Gables, Florida. Coral Gables Museum. coralgablesmuseum.org. Coral Gables, Florida. Coral Springs Museum of Art. coralspringsmuseum.org. Coral Springs, Florida. Cornell Art Museum at Old School Square. oldschoolsquare.org/about/Cornell-Museum. Delray Beach, Florida. Creeld School of Art. creeld.org. Winter Park, Florida. Crowley Museum and Nature Center. crowleyfl.org. Sarasota, Florida. Cummer Museum of Art and Gardens. cummermuseum.org. Jacksonville, Florida. Discovery Center. mydiscoverycenter.org. Ocala, Florida. Dunedin Fine Art Center. dfac.org. Dunedin, Florida. Eden State Gardens. floridestateparks.org/edengardens/default.cfm. Point Washington, Florida. Florida Community College Kent Campus Museum/Gallery. Jacksonville, Florida. Florida Craft Art. floridacraftart.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Florida Gulf Coast Center for Fishing and Interactive Museum. centerforfishing.org. Largo, Florida. Florida Holocaust Museum. flholocaustmuseum.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Florida International Museum. floridamuseum.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Florida Museum for Women Artists. floridamuseumforwomenartists.org. DeLand, Florida. Florida Museum of Photographic Arts. fmopa.org. Tampa, Florida. Fusainer Art Museum, Florida Institute of Technology. fosanerartmuseum.org. Melbourne, Florida. Fort East Martello Museum. quaz.com. Key West, Florida. Fort Walton Beach Art Museum. Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Foster Tanner Fine Arts Gallery. famu.edu/index.cfm ? Visual Arts &p Vonnet Information. Tallahassee, Florida. Fred Dana Marsh Museum Tomoka State Park. Ormond Beach, Florida. Gadsden Arts Center and Museum. gadsdenarts.org. Quincy, Florida. Galleries at Ringling College of Art and Design. ringling.edu. Sarasota, Florida. Gallery North, Miami-Dade College, North Campus. Miami, Florida. Gulf Coast Museum of Art, closed. Largo, Florida. Haitian Heritage Museum. HaitianHeritageMuseum.org. Miami, Florida. Harn Museum of Art. harn.ufl.edu. Gainesville, Florida. Harry T. and Harriet V. Moore Cultural Center. BrevardParks.com/HeathVM. Mims, Florida. Hawthorne Historical Museum and Cultural Center. HawthorneFlorida.org. Hawthorne, Florida. Heathcote Botanical Gardens. HeathcoteBotanicalGardens.org. Fort Pierce, Florida. Henry Morrison Flagler Museum. FlaglerMuseum.us. Palm Beach, Florida. Hibble Museum of Art. HibbleMuseum.org. Jupiter, Florida. Highlands Museum of the Arts. HighlandsArtLeague.com. Sebring, Florida. History Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale Historical Society.org. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Homer and Dolly Hand Art Center. www.stetson.edu/HandaRT DeLand, Florida. Jacksonville Automobile and Motorcycle Museum. jacksautomuseum.org. Jacksonville, Florida. Jewish Museum of Florida, FEW. jmof.fiu.edu. Miami Beach, Florida. Carpella's Manuscript Library. carpellas.com. Jacksonville, Florida. Key West Art and Historical Society. quaz.com. Key West, Florida. Key West Museum of Art and History at the Custom House. quaz.com. Key West, Florida. Corishawn State Historic Site and Mount Key Archaeological State Park. corishawn.mweb.org. Estero, Florida. Lake Eustis Museum of Art. Eustis, Florida. Lemoyne Arts. lemoyne.org. Tallahassee, Florida. Leeparatner Museum of Art. leeparatner.org. Tarpon Springs, Florida. Lighthouse Art Center Museum, Gallery and School of Art. lighthousearts.org. Tequesta, Florida. Longboat Key Center for the Arts. lbkca.org. Longboat Key, Florida. Low Art Museum, University of Miami. lowmuseum.org. Coral Gables, Florida. Mandarin Museum and Historical Society. mandarinmuseum.net. Jacksonville, Florida. Marie Selby Botanical Gardens Downtown Sarasota Campus. selby.org. Sarasota, Florida. Marietta Museum of Art and Whimsy. whimsymuseum.org. Sarasota, Florida. Maddie Kelly Arts Center Galleries at Northwest Florida State College. maddiekellyartcenter.org. Niceville, Florida. Miami Art Central. miamiartcentral.org. Miami, Florida. Miami Children's Museum. miamichildrensmuseum.org. Miami, Florida. Miami-Dade College Kendall Campus Art Gallery. mdc.edu/Kendall. Miami, Florida. Miami-Dade College Museum of Art and Design. mdc.edu/galleries. Miami, Florida. Maureen Arts Center. maureenartcenter.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Morikami Museum and Japanese Gardens. morikami.org. Delray Beach, Florida. Morse Museum of American Art. morsemuseum.org. Winter Park, Florida. Mount Dora Center for the Arts. Mount Dora Center fortarts.org. Mount Dora, Florida. Museum Studies at Florida Gulf Coast University. artgallery.fgcu.edu. Fort Myers, Florida. Museum of Art, DeLand. moaartdeland.org. DeLand, Florida. Museum of Arts and Sciences. moas.org. Daytona Beach, Florida. Museum of Contemporary Art Jacksonville. mocajacksonville.unf.edu. Jacksonville, Florida. Museum of Contemporary Art in Miami. moconomy.org. North Miami, Florida. Museum of Dance Arts. St. Petersburg, Florida. Museum of Fine Arts. mfastpete.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Museum of Fine Arts, Florida State University. mofa.fsu.edu. Tallahassee, Florida. Museum of Florida's Art and Culture. mofac.org. Sebring, Florida. Museum of the American Arts and Crafts Movement. museumacm.org. St. Petersburg, Florida. Museum of the Americas. museumamericas.org. Doral, Florida. Museum of the Everglades. colliermuseums.com. Everglades City, Florida. NSU Art Museum, Fort Lauderdale. nsuartmuseum.org. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Naples Art Association. naplesart.org. Naples, Florida. North Florida Community College Art Gallery. Madison, Florida. Norton Museum of Art. norton.org. West Palm Beach, Florida. Orlando Museum of Art. omrt.org. Orlando, Florida.